Okay. Progressive people of all stripes were understandably disturbed by the murder of a 16-year-old American citizen in Yemen by the way of an attack from a drone. The young man was the son of Anwar al-Awlaki, a Yemeni religious leader who was accused of being a terrorist by the United States government. The fact that the 16-year-old juvenile was not accused of any crime at all was brushed aside by the Pentagon and the Obama administration as an unfortunate case of collateral damage. Here was a person who could legally be defined as a child who was killed by the U.S. government without any just cause. The boy's father, Anwar al-Awlaki, was also killed by a drone operated from a military base on U.S. soil. The older al-Awlaki was also an American citizen. The hypocrisy here is obvious. Obama ran for president as a candidate who opposed the torture of suspected terrorists. As president, he's done one better than those who support torture. He has in fact murdered suspected militants without trial. The president has even shown a willingness to kill American citizens without any sort of judicial review whatsoever. This is a clear escalation of the phony war on terror that began while the Bush administration was in power. Obama has escalated the use of drone attacks several-fold. In fact, there were more drone attacks in 2009 alone than the entirety of the Bush years. Attaining exact data is difficult, but at least 330 people lost their lives in 2012 due to drone attacks. In 2009, one report from U.S. journalists concluded that 90% of people killed in drone attacks have been civilians. The Obama administration clearly believes it can function as judge, jury, and executioner. As egregious as the murder of the al-Awlakis, who were American citizens, is, even more humane is the deaths of at least 1,600 Pakistanis who have been killed in drone attacks. Some say the number is as high as 3,100. Drones are big business. War profiteering corporations such as Lockheed Martin, Boeing, and General Dynamics have made huge profits from the manufacturing of drones. Drones are actually relatively cheap to make compared to the production of fighter jets, which may cost as much as $150 million each, such as Lockheed Martin's F-22. Some drones, such as Predator drones, may cost as low as $5 million to make. But the government is planning on spending $885 million in 2013 on Reaper drones at a cost of $36 million each. All this at a time when social programs such as Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security are under attack and face the threat of being slashed. The U.S. spends $1 trillion annually on militarism and war, more than the rest of the world combined, even though nearly half of U.S. citizens are making poverty or near poverty level wages. Many people of all ages are sinking under the avalanche of heavy personal debt. Drones are unarmed planes operated by a pilot that could be sitting on the other side of the world. The fact that people around the world are killed by machines being operated by a person sitting in a small room thousands of miles away is telling. Drones dehumanize the effects of imperialist war. A drone operator can kill a child or any civilian without ever seeing her face from literally thousands of miles away. Why is the drone industry booming? Because now the corporations and the Pentagon can achieve their strategic objectives without the politically unpopular act of putting troops in harm's way. During the war in Vietnam, about 60,000 American troops died. This outraged large sections of the working class, which ignited a vibrant and sizable anti-war movement. The Pentagon and the ruling class don't care about the lives of soldiers, but what they don't want is to jumpstart a movement that could thwart their political objectives. Drones make imperialist wars more distant to the lives of American workers. The corporations and the ultra-rich want to achieve their aims by war without people taking to the streets. The ruling class fears a movement most of all. The war industry is also developing underwater drones and is furthering plans to increase their use in African nations such as Niger and Somalia. Drone warfare is currently operating out of bases in Djibouti, Ethiopia, and the Seychelles Islands. An estimated 57 people were killed recently in a strike in Somalia. Currently, the three countries where people have been most victimized by drone strikes: have been Yemen, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. Drones are an excuse for the imperialists to be even more lawless and more brazen. The use of drones in war will increase, especially if there is not a strong anti-war movement. Interestingly enough, the ruling class is developing methods to stifle political dissent in the United States domestically. Drones are increasingly being used on U.S. soil. Since 2005, drones have patrolled the Mexican border and have been used by police departments in North Dakota and Texas. As of yet, big city police departments like New York and LA have held off until regulations from the Federal Aviation Administration are clear, but undoubtedly the drone industry will grow in the future by leaps and bounds. The LAPD reportedly used a drone in the drive to hunt and kill Christopher Dorner. The Supreme Court has ruled the constitutionality of a search can be extended if a machine is doing it. This includes warrantless aerial observations of backyards. In fact, it is estimated that 70% of the growth of the drone market will occur in the United States itself. The ultra-rich know that workers are increasingly disgruntled at their current economic plight and are attempting to develop innovative methods to harass political dissenters. Rank-and-file liberals are scrambling to find reasons to defend Obama, as he has expanded the security state and signed into effect laws allowing indefinite detention without trial. Still, many who consider themselves progressive still desperately try to defend Obama. The repressive natures of drones is highlighted by the fact that countries where mass repression is necessary to survive, for the state to survive, use them the most. The state of Israel pioneered drone technology in order to oppress Palestinians and has sold the technology to Colombia in its crackdown of progressive forces there. The vast majority of Israelis support the country's ongoing military campaign in Gaza as long as the government uses drones and not ground forces for the fear of casualties. So what's to be done? We must build an independent people's movement to break the world's to break the workers' political allegiance to the Democratic Party and build a revolutionary alternative right here at the heart of world imperialism. We as revolutionaries should not attack Obama on a personal basis when recruiting working class people. That's what right-wing bigots do. Even though ultimately he is personally responsible for a lot of the crimes that happen under his administration. We must expose the deep gaps between Obama's words and actions and build mass movements such as our upcoming April 13th demonstration against drones. The Party of Socialism and Liberation creates opportunities for people to struggle against the system. We in the PSL believe that people raise their class consciousness by their very participation in actions. Rank-and-file Obama supporters should not be turned away from the mass movement. As socialists, we must talk to them. We must connect the president's support of enlarging the security state as one aspect of the broader capitalist system when talking to future revolutionaries. We must bring those who are critical of Obama's policies into a people's movement that can fight for real change. This is what the ruling class fears the most. They know their policies are causing greater economic inequality and greater likelihood of a real fight back within the U.S. U.S. imperialism is facing greater challenges abroad from resistance movements in countries such as China and potentially big social justice movements within the United States. Drones represent the desire to spy on and imprison oppressed people who are not represented by the system. The ruling class is using drone technology as a way to prepare for the class war. Join us on Saturday, April 13th for a demonstration organized by our partners in the Answer Coalition against the use of drones in Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. The demonstration will take place at City Hall, right here in downtown LA at 1 p.m. The action here in LA is a part of a coordinated effort throughout the country on that day to draw attention to the use of the deadly machines. So demonstration here in LA will be working in concert with demonstrations in Washington, D.C., San Francisco, and elsewhere. Together, let's build a movement that can challenge the corporations and the ultra-rich and put an end to the U.S. empire. Drones out of Africa, the Middle East, Asia, and everywhere.